Hi there, it's Lesley Oman from Hungry Heffy Crafts, and today I have another card to share. Lots of inking and one of these little cute critters from Lawn Fawn. I had a piece of Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock that I had cut the corner off, and I didn't want to waste it, so I thought I would incorporate the rest of the card into a little bit of a different design. So I'm using some stitched borders here to create a stitching on a curve across my card. And then I'm going to go back in with my scissors and just trim that out. And this is going to be a panel to go on top of my card, but I don't want it to be white. I'm going to ink it up using some distress inks and some mini blending tools. I'm using two pink tones for this. First of all, Spun Sugar, which is the really light coloured pink here that I'm blending onto the top of my card. And then I'm going to go back in with some of the darker pinks, and that's the picked raspberry colour. I want it almost to look like an ombre effect, so I'm using the darker colour at the bottom and using my blending tool in a circular fashion to blend the colours up, and then I'll go back in with the lighter colour again and bring the lighter colour down. Now I think I'm happy with that, so I'm going to reactivate the ink using some water, and I've got this little water droplet thing that I can squeeze some water onto my hand and then flick it onto the card and drop some big droplets from my hand. I've let that dry for a few minutes before dabbing it off, and I wanted some more, so I'm going to go back in and just shake my dropper over the top. So I want to make sure that this is completely dry. I'm going to leave it to the side for a second, and I'm going to cut out this little critter. This is a Lawn Fawn Monster Mash stamp set, I think it's called. So it's one of the critters from that, and I'm using the coordinating die, and I'm going to run that through my Cuttlebug. And I've actually coloured this with Copic markers. It's not in the video today, but there is some other colouring from the other accessories for this little dude. This is for my friend Alexia, who is celebrating her graduation, and I thought it'd be really cute to have this little guy with some accessories. So I'm actually just going to draw them because I don't have a stamp set. So I'm using exactly the same Nina Solar White cardstock for this, and I'm sketching out a little hat and a diploma. Now I'm going to create the black outline, and I'm using my Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen. This is the F, the fine tip, and the reason I chose the F is that I think it's probably the closest size or thickness that I have to match the stamp. I decided not to do the tassel on the hat, so I'm just going to rub out the pencil lines before I go in with some Copic markers. This is going to be white, but instead of leaving it blank, I'm adding a little bit of C1 and then R05 for the red. And for the hat, I want it to be a black color, but instead of having a real flat black, I'm using my gray tones. I'm using cool grays today. So I started with C3, going back in with C7 in the darkest bits, and then I'm going to blend that out a little bit more with some C5 along the top and underneath here. And C3 to bring some of that colour out. I want to make sure that there's some depth there. So here they are all coloured in. I'm just going to take a pair of scissors now and fussy cut these out. And I want to leave a white border that matches my little monster. To add a little bit more interest to the card, I've picked these border dies, these stitched borders, out of my stash, and I'm going to do a border all the way around the three sides of my pink panel, and I think that gives it a really cool finish. Okay, so this is going to go up here, and I'm going to do some stamping. So I've used a pencil to create a line, and I've picked out these Paper Chase stamp letters. It's Aviano, I think it's called. It was from Paper Chase. I got them on holiday in Glasgow, and I think they're the perfect size to fit ConGRADS all the way along here. Now it's not ConGRADS, it's ConGRADS, and I want the word grad to really stand out. So I'm taping over the grad, G-R-A-D letters with some washi tape, inking up my stamp with some slate grey Simon Says Stamp dye-based ink, and stamping that on my card. I'm going to come back in just over the GRAD bit with some hot pink Simon Says Stamp ink, just like this. Now let's rub away this line and we can start assembling the card. I decided I wanted to bring in a little bit more of the grey tone, so I'm using some dark grey cardstock, and I managed to actually salvage a piece that I had already die cut and make use of this, because I just need a little thin strip along the bottom, and that will really make this pink panel pop against my card. So let's put this in the front of a note card. And I'm going to stick my little monster on with some foam adhesive just here. Put his diploma in his hand, and instead of putting this on his head, he's going to be holding this. Now I decided that I wanted to actually create a shadow underneath this little monster, so I used C3 to do some squiggles underneath. This is the first time I've done this, and in fact once I did it I thought, oh, I don't know whether I really like this, but I went back in then with a lighter color, the C1, and I blended that out a little bit more, and I set the whole card to the side and then came back the next day and I thought, actually I quite like it. So it just goes to show sometimes time can make you feel differently about things. To finish the card, I'm adding a few little sequins, and I'm using my Ranger Multimedia mat for this, and an eyelash applicator, and I'm also adding these little white discs, and I bought them off eBay. They're actually for your nails, I think. And there we go, that's the finished card. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video today. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked what I have made today in the video, and hop on over to Hungry Happy Crafts for some more crafty goodness. Have a lovely day!